Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Sunday, April 27th of 2025. So today is Sunday, right? So it's time for the Sunday sermon. Not so much religious, but it's a Sunday sermon. And like yesterday, my mind was going blank, so I decided just to skip it versus making a mediocre, poor crapola. Our minds do that at times. Just certain days you just got to slow her down a little bit and just get through the day, right? So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the game of chance, and that should intrigue you. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it, and this is the weekend. Today is Sunday, April 27th of 2025. So, what do I mean by the game of chance? I see this so often that people think that it's kind of like being in a casino, that you play the odds, right? And you hope for the best hand. But that's all you can do because that's why they call it a game of chance. You're willing to put your money up to take a chance at it. Now, you know, the cup half full, cup half empty type deal says, well, if you never put the money in, you'll never have a chance. I agree. But if you put your money in, there's no guarantee that you're going to get that win either, right? And if you approach life that way, you're going to miss out on so many things that are going on around you because you're waiting for that next big fix, right? You're waiting for it to come. All the stuff that you ever wanted, you're waiting for it to come to you instead of you clearing the distance between you and it. And there are things that we could do on a daily basis to get ourselves closer to that end goal, right? And it's all about goal setting. It's all about going after what is not so much owed to you, but is out there for the picking. And you get to choose how you live your life. You get to choose everything in your life. God gave us that option of choosing. We also had the repercussions of what happens if we choose wrong, but we also get the win when we choose right. And we're taught that from an early age, right from wrong. The best is when I was teaching my kids the difference between hot and cold. You know, the hot water and the warm, I'd use warm water and cold water, but I'd use the warm water as hot and the cold water is cold. And that's how I would teach the kids. This is hot and this is cold. So we're taught, hopefully, since we're infants, the difference between right and wrong. And some of us are taught better. I hear so many people say that everything is going wrong in their life because of their parents. I see very few examples of that. I'm not saying that the bulk of people out there are great parents. Not even close. What I am saying is once you get to a certain age, you start having to own your destiny instead of blaming it on somebody else. Because if you're busy complaining and saying everything is your parents' fault, and you're 21, I got news for you. Being a parent is trying to get as much teachings in before a child reaches 12 or 13. Because once they hit their teenage years, they know everything, right? At least I did. By the time I was 13, hey, there wasn't a thing on this earth I didn't know. But yet, I was just starting. And to this day, I'm 62 now, and I don't know diddly squat. There's so much stuff I don't know that I could never find out by the end of my lifetime. What are we talking about when we talk about a game of chance, taking a chance and maybe winning millions, or not doing it at all? Let's put it this way. If I told you that you could take and put $100 on that hand that they just dealt you, and you might have a chance to win $1,000, or you cannot take a chance at all, hold on to your $100 and not play and not win 1,000, but you still have your 100. Or if I taught you a different way of taking that 100 and maybe investing it into your future of where you would have a return of, let's say, 150, 200. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. It's all on how you learn. I'm saying the game of chance, you're probably going to be out your $100. If you keep your $100 and you don't play, then it'll always be worth $100. And as we know, with inflation and everything else, $100 back when I was a teenager to $100 today, being a teenager, the $100 ain't worth squat compared to what it did and was back then. I mean, you could buy a brand new vehicle for 5-6 grand. Look at them now. They're 40 to infancy. But if I can show you a third way of taking that $100 and investing it into something that will teach you a trade, will teach you how to do something that you're going to save money at. And people will say, well, if you do it yourself and you save money, you're not making money. Yes, you are. Because if you figure out what it would cost to have somebody come in and do it for you versus you doing it, that's a win. I don't care how you shake it. I mean, do I have to spell it out? I mean, if a contractor comes in and says, in order to hang that window, it's going to cost you $500. And you go on YouTube or wherever and you learn how to hang that window and you do an exceptional job and you put it up, that's saving $500. Pay yourself the $500 and put it in the win column. Put it in that jar. Everything that you can do for yourself that you don't need to hire somebody to do, put it in the win jar. Are there going to be certain things that is cheaper to hire somebody else than to do it yourself? Yes, especially if you're a klutz. I mean, if you have no interest in learning and you're just trying to save the $500, I got news for you. Pay the $500 and be done with it. Because you're not going to pay enough attention. You're not going to be interested in enough to get that knowledge. And you're going to end up screwing it up. And you're going to end up still paying the $500 to have the contractor come in. And it's going to cost you $700 now to correct your screw ups. So now you've gone not just $500, now you're an extra $200 because you half-assed threw it together and he's got to come in and clean up your mistakes. So I'm not just saying run to YouTube and learn everything there is and that's a win column in yours. It is if you can retain it. It is if it's something that you are interested in learning. And it's even a bigger win if it's something that you decide you want to do in the future. You may be a contractor in the making. There's no reason why you can't become a contractor. There's no reason you can't become almost any trades out there once you put your mind to it. But that's the key, is deciding this is what I want, this is what I enjoy doing, because enjoyment has to be part of it. If you don't enjoy doing X, Y, and Z, the retention value is usually pretty low, right? Because you're not paying attention to what is being said or done, and your mind is somewhere else. It's not in doing these certain things. But now, if you're fascinated and you want to learn how to hang a window and a door because you want to do it yourself and you're really interested in it, once you hang that window, the next thing would be hang the door. The next thing would be hang a sheetrock. The next thing would be mudding, which is terrible. It's not terrible. It's just you have to be pretty anal with it. Or just maybe it was something I just didn't want to learn. I could hang sheetrock all day. But I had friends that just used the regular tape and gun. They would just walk down on stilts like there's nothing to it. But how did they get to that point? They were shown the right way to do it. They had an interest in doing it and doing it well. And it showed in their work. When they left the job, it looked great. Now, are there some people out there that are pretending to be contractors that you have to watch out for? Yes. It could be somebody just like you of deciding today you're going to be a contractor, because it doesn't take much to throw up a website, get your business license, and off you go, right? Anybody can say they're a contractor. What separates the good from the bad are the ones that are really interested and enjoy doing what they're doing. The half-assed ones are ones that are just looking at it for financial gain and are trying to do it as cheaply as possible in and out. And you'll see the difference if you get old enough. But that's doing anything in life. You know, it goes back to, do you want to take a chance making your 100 into 1,000? Do you want to just keep your $100 and do nothing and have it go backwards because of the rate of inflation? Or would you rather take that $100 and do what I'm telling you to do, and that is invest it into something that you enjoy doing to make it have more value? I'm not against gambling, but I know very few people that have actually made money and been able to keep it gambling. I've known people to save most of their life and find out that their life savings wasn't worth squat because they didn't invest it in anything. They just held on to it. And then I've seen those people that took the money they had and they invested it in their future and watched businesses grow to where they were $100,000 businesses, $1 million businesses, because they continued to allow that money that they had made, put it back in for more growth, more learning. God give us the choice of those three options. There's probably more, but those are the three that I'm trying to have as a teachable moment. I never believed in investing in stock markets and all that, I'll be honest with you. I also was smart enough to know that if I had $100 and I put it in the safe, it's still going to be worth $100. And at the cost of inflation and everything else, if I pulled it out 20 years later, that $100 would be worth actually less money because it's buying me less stuff. You know, maybe going to the grocery store today would cost, save $25 or $30 to pick up what I want. I know it's not right, but hear me out. If I hold on to that $100 for another 20 years, that same 25 to 50 is going to be 75 to 100, right? So just holding on to your money, you'll actually go backwards over time. So what I've always done with my money is I've always tried to reinvest it back into something that would help me grow. And some of the things that to help me grow had nothing to do with financial, but it cost financially to get me to that point. And that money is well spent too. It's like saving all year for a vacation. Now, some would say, well, that's foolhardy to go on vacation because if you'd have saved that money, you would have had it still with you. I don't go on very many vacations, all right? But the ones that I have been on, for the most part, have been relaxing. See, the worst vacation to go on to is one of them hurried ones where you rush around trying to see all the sights and you feel you come home to recuperate. That is not a vacation. A vacation is when you can sit on the sand in a lawn chair and just have the ocean come up onto your feet. It's the smell of the ocean. I grew up on the ocean, whether it was Hawaii, Japan, Florida, Texas. I was always around water. Maybe that's why I like to fish so much. But if you're not coming back from that vacation, like recharged, you may want to reconsider what you plan on doing for a vacation. You know, taking the kids to Disney World is not what I would look at as a vacation. It's a treat for the kids, but you're going to just keep wishing to be back at work because it would require less energy and effort, right? But what I'm saying is if you put that money into a vacation that recharges you, of where you have no set agenda, you're just taking a week, you and your better half, or you and a couple buddies, or, you know, you and your girlfriend, and you're going to North Carolina, you're going to Florida, you're going to Texas, you're going to Mexico, wherever. If you are getting recharged, where there's no, I got to do 110 different things, sightseeing and this and that, then usually the vacation is well worth the money spent. I'm not saying that it's not worth the money spent doing those other things that you have agendas you could check off your bucket list, but those things don't recharge you. And that brings me to the final point. The thing is if you're doing what you enjoy doing, at the end of the day, you hate to give up because you're having fun doing it. And that is the ultimate win, is when the things that you're doing in your job are stuff that you love to do. You know, I always told my kids when they were younger, don't chase the money. The money is not going to make you happy. Chase what you enjoy doing and make it your profession. You know, and my son was like me, you know, he enjoyed fishing. And I said, why don't you make that your profession? And he's like, well, how would you make fishing your profession? Well, there's many ways. You could become a charter captain. You could do guided fishing trips. You could do video fishing trips and put it on YouTube, make $1 gazillion. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could take that process, see, and turn it into a business. I mean, with the videoing and stuff, you could be brook trout fishing today and tuna fishing up in New England tomorrow. It's whatever floats your boat. Some people will say you never want to take something you really enjoy doing and making it your work, because then you'll come to hate it. No, you won't. Unless you really hate it to begin with and you were just doing it to let off steam. But just give that something to think about. You're never too old to start, is probably my best message to you. Is it's never too old to do anything. I mean, I watch 100-year-olds skydive with the help of somebody else. Snorkeling, scuba, you name it. You're only as old as you feel. Age is just a number. Yes, our bones tell us that we've aged, but not to the extent of where we still can't do something with our lives in a positive way. Especially your retirees that are looking at their 401ks and all the other stuff, and you're just kind of scratching your head. For you guys, leave your money in the 401ks, they'll come back. But start looking at investing it in you and what you enjoy doing. There are so many people that start a second job after they're retired. They'll take their hobby and make it into a job. So on that note, you guys have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning for the weekday. Again, thanks so much for watching.